Breaking news out of Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders just stunned the Browns coaches after a shocking roster shakeup. But here's the twist. It's not what fans expected.
Shedeur is QB3 for the Browns. Does anybody here?
I think they realize where they're drafted.
Rather than saying what didn't go well, what went, okay, so
I'll pick tonight because that's what he should have been.
Tom Brady is Shedeur's mentor.
Breaking news from the NFL, the Browns naming Dillon Gabriel their number 2 quarterback behind Joe Flacco. That means Shedeur Sanders, who was drafted 2 rounds after Gabriel, is going to be the 3rd string quarterback. Cleveland traded Kenny Pickett to the Raiders on Monday, and Deshaun Watson has been put on the reserve PUP list. He's expected to miss most, if not all, of the season with a torn Achilles. We have our lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones with us, along with former NFL GM Ran Carthon. JJ, how much of this decision was based on where Gabriel was drafted, ahead of Sanders by a few rounds, and as pertains to also their actual performance on the practice field and in games this preseason?
Shedeur Sanders fans, you're not going to believe what just happened in Cleveland. The Browns just dropped some news that has everyone talking, and honestly, I'm not sure how to feel about this. They've officially named their quarterback depth chart, and Shedeur Sanders, the guy we've all been watching closely, just got placed as the 3rd string quarterback behind Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel. Now, before everyone loses their minds, we need to talk about what this really means and why this might actually be the best thing for Shedeur's development, even though it doesn't feel great right now. Look, I'm going to be straight with you guys. When I first heard this breaking news from the NFL, my heart sank a little bit. The Browns just made it official. Joe Flacco is their starter, Dillon Gabriel is the backup, and Shedeur Sanders is sitting at number 3 on the depth chart. And you know what? The media is already starting with their narrative about how this proves Shedeur wasn't ready, how he's struggling, all that nonsense. But here's what I think is really happening here, and I want you guys to hear me out on this. The Browns didn't just randomly decide this. They traded Kenny Pickett to the Raiders on Monday, and with Deshaun Watson going on the reserve PUP list with that torn Achilles, this whole situation has shifted dramatically. According to NFL insider Jonathan Jones, this decision was based on what they've seen on the practice field and in preseason games. And while that 3rd preseason game wasn't Shedeur's best showing, we need to remember something important here. This kid was drafted in the 5th round. Dillon Gabriel went in the 3rd. The Browns valued Gabriel higher from the start, but here's the thing that everyone's missing. They still like Shedeur enough to draft 2 quarterbacks in the same draft when they already had Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett on the roster. Think about how rare that is. Teams don't do that unless they see something special. As Jonathan Jones pointed out, they did the very rare thing of drafting a quarterback 2 rounds after already taking a quarterback when they already had a couple on the roster. That tells me they saw potential in both guys. What do you guys think about this decision? I mean, from a purely football standpoint, I get it. But part of me wonders if this is really about performance or if there's something else going on here. Let me know in the comments what you think.
So now Shedeur Sanders, we knew that he was going to be on the 53-man roster. Now he's a 3rd string quarterback. And during the season, 3rd string quarterbacks don't get that many reps out there on the field. You know where the reps they get? It's with the scout team. So here we are in late August. We're talking about Shedeur Sanders, and I want everyone to just say with a clear mind, say with open hearts, that it is okay that a 3rd string quarterback is going to be on the scout team for the Cleveland Browns. That's what's going to happen, and it is not anything beyond what is normal in the NFL, where there's going to be a lot of wasted energy over this. And I want to be clear because, Rand, I see that smile on your face. You know that people are going to be like, how dare the Cleveland Browns put Shedeur Sanders on the scout team? They don't respect him. When every 3rd string quarterback in the NFL is running scout team across the league.
Now here's where it gets interesting. And this is where I think people are going to overreact. Jonathan Jones made it clear, Shedeur is going to be running scout team reps. And I already know what's coming. People are going to lose their minds about this, talking about disrespect and how the Browns don't value him. But you know what? Every single 3rd string quarterback in the NFL runs scout team. That's just how it works. And honestly, I think this might be exactly what Shedeur needs right now. Think about it. Instead of getting limited reps with the 3rd team, he's going to be going up against Cleveland's starting defense every single day. From what I've seen of Shedeur throughout college, this guy thrives under pressure. He's never been handed anything easy, and now he's going to get to test himself against NFL-level talent every day in practice. That's invaluable experience that most rookies never get. Ran Carthon, who's a former GM, made a great point about this. He mentioned how Fred Warner once told him about watching a young quarterback carve up the 49ers' first-team defense in practice. And Warner said if that guy ever got a chance in a real game, he'd tear people apart. That quarterback? Brock Purdy. I'm not saying Shedeur is going to be the next Brock Purdy, but I am saying that going against elite competition every day is going to make him better. What do you guys think? Is this actually a blessing in disguise? The reality is, during the regular season, third-string quarterbacks don't get many reps anyway. At least this way, when Shedeur does get his shot, and I believe he will, he'll have been battle-tested against starting-level talent. Here's what I think everyone is missing in all this drama. Jonathan Jones said something that really stuck with me. He said the chances of Shedeur seeing the field this season are actually pretty decent. And when you think about it, that makes total sense. Joe Flacco is 39 years old. He's literally one of the oldest players in the entire NFL. Is he really going to play all 17 games? I mean, we saw what happened with him in Indianapolis. It wasn't pretty. If we get that version of Joe Flacco, he's getting benched. If we get the December 2022 version that helped Cleveland almost make the playoffs, then great. But that's a big if. Then you've got Dillon Gabriel, who's a third-round rookie himself. No disrespect to Gabriel, but he's unproven at the NFL level, just like Shedeur. Injuries happen in this league. We all know that. And when they do, that's when Shedeur gets his chance to show what he's made of. I've been following this guy closely, and one thing I know about Shedeur is that he doesn't stay down. Every time he's been counted out, he's found a way to bounce back stronger. This is just another chapter in that story. From what they're showing us in Cleveland, this isn't necessarily permanent either. Ran Carthon made sure to mention that coaches reserve the right to change their minds. These depth charts aren't set in stone. If Shedeur shows out in practice, if he continues to develop, there's no reason he can't move up. Now let's talk about what this really means for Shedeur's development. While Dillon Gabriel is going to get more reps with the first and second teams, Shedeur is going to be getting a different kind of education. He's going to be learning Jim Schwartz's defense from the inside out. He's going to see every coverage, every blitz, every scheme they run. That's actually huge for a young quarterback's development. Instead of just learning the offense, he's going to understand how defenses think and react. That's going to make him a smarter player in the long run. And here's something else to consider. The Browns have 2 first-round picks next year. They need to figure out what they have in their young quarterbacks so they can decide whether to draft another one. That means at some point this season, they're going to have to give both Gabriel and Shedeur real opportunities to show what they can do. With Deshaun Watson likely done for the season, and maybe for good with that Achilles injury, this franchise is looking for their quarterback of the future. And I still believe Shedeur has as good a chance as anyone to be that guy. What do you guys think about the Browns' long-term plan here? Are they setting up for another quarterback in the draft? Or do they think they have their answer already on the roster? Look, I know this isn't the news we wanted to hear as Shedeur supporters. We wanted him to come in and immediately compete for the backup job. But sometimes the best path isn't the most obvious one. Think about some of the great quarterbacks who had to wait their turn. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for years. Jordan Love waited behind Rodgers. Sometimes that development time is exactly what a player needs. Shedeur is getting thrown into one of the most complex defensive systems in the NFL every day. He's going to learn faster going against Jim Schwartz's defense than he would getting limited reps with lower-string players. This is like getting a master class in reading NFL defenses, and when his opportunity comes, whether it's this season or next, he's going to be more prepared than any rookie quarterback we've seen in a long time. He'll have seen every look, every pressure, every scheme that Cleveland's defense can throw at him. I could be wrong about this, but I think this is actually setting Shedeur up for success in the long run. Sometimes you have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. Here's what I think is really happening in Cleveland. They like both Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Gabriel got the edge because he was drafted higher and has had a slightly better preseason. But this race is far from over. Football is still a meritocracy, and the best players eventually rise to the top. If Shedeur continues to work, continues to improve, and takes advantage of every opportunity he gets, There's no reason he can't climb this depth chart. The season is long, injuries happen, and performances change. Joe Flacco isn't the long-term answer. Dillon Gabriel is still unproven. The door isn't closed for Shedeur. It's just not wide open yet. From what I've seen of this kid throughout his career, he's never been given anything easy. He's always had to earn it. And honestly, that's probably made him stronger. This is just another challenge for him to overcome. What do you guys think? Is this just a temporary setback, or are you worried about Shedeur's development in Cleveland? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to hear your thoughts on this whole situation. If you're a Shedeur Sanders fan like me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe because we're going to be following his journey all season long. This story is far from over, and I have a feeling it's going to have a lot more twists and turns before it's done.